Hey everyone, this is Langfuse. It shows you every time your agent failed last week. You get errors like rate limits, bad namespaces, timeouts, every type of error. But notice what it doesn't do. Nothing here changes what your agent will do tomorrow. Next week, you'll hit the same rate limit again and see the same issues. Langfuse records what went wrong. It doesn't remember the lesson. That's the gap you're closing today. Langfuse recognizes what went wrong. Memento remembers the lesson. The obvious fix is to pipe the error into a memory store. That's correct, but it breaks right away. Memory stores and vector stores don't deduplicate on write. One bad deploy can produce 4,000 nearly identical stack traces. If you write those as 4,000 separate memories, recall becomes useless. You've buried the signal in its own noise and the agent gets overwhelmed. You need each distinct problem or signature extracted from all those traces. A signature is the operation name plus the error message, with the parts that change every run, IDs, numbers, emails, file paths, stripped out. So 4,000 traces collapse into one memory that says, this happened 4,000 times, and the confidence score rises as the count grows. That's the Memento and Langfuse integration. So your agent stops relearning the same failures. There are 3 ways to integrate. First, LiveBridge. This connects to your Langfuse app and captures span data as it flows through the system. Second, the Memento Migrate CLI. You import historical Langfuse data as a migration source and set up mapping rules however you want. Third, the Memento UI. Point and click to set up your Langfuse integration and export data from Langfuse to Memento. No hassle. Let's walk through each option, starting with the Memento CLI. First, provide your Langfuse API keys, either as an environment variable or via a CLI command. Then run a discovery step. This helps you understand and configure your actual data. Just run Memento Migrate Langfuse with the discover flag. That gives you a full picture of your Langfuse project. Here's something worth knowing about observability integrations. Every project is different. Langfuse lets you define any score with any name and any range. There's no standard for whether a higher score is better, so you have to check the real data to figure that out. 3 things stand out. First, it found a score called user thumb. It's Boolean and suggests a rule, but look at the suggestion. Or equal to true if this score flags a problem. It won't pick the direction for you because it can't know what's good or bad. Second, the latency per operation, the generate response P99, is about 11 seconds. Now you can set a budget based on your actual data, not a random number. And third, this is the best part. You see the exact error label it would create. That's a preview of the grouping quality before you write anything. If it looks messy, fix it before it ends up in your memory store. Once you're happy with the discovery step, configure it and save it for the project. Use the capture flag with error and slow. This captures both errors and latency outliers. Instead of a fixed millisecond budget, set the latency percentile to 95. That means anything slower than the 95th percentile of that operation's own traffic gets flagged. It calibrates itself. Then the save command writes it to a config file, keyed by the Langfuse project. You never have to type it again. Your CLI, your UI, and your app all agree on what counts as a failure, and those failures get stored in Memento. You can also do a dry run first to preview exactly what will be saved. Out of 85 observations pulled, you only get 10 memories. That's the whole idea in one line. If you want to save directly, just provide the agent name and run it. Done. Now let's see what the memory actually looks like. Here you have a memory store with different types. It automatically tags each memory as observation, error, or learning. The source shows as Langfuse, and confidence is auto-assigned based on how often the issue occurs. Each memory comes with detailed supporting data. For example, you might see something happen 3 times between 2 timestamps, or a quota exceeded error in flaky, also 3 times. So you're storing distinct, separate memories and learning from your Langfuse data. Now here's the part worth paying attention to. Watch what happens if you run it a second time. It says 0 new, 0 unchanged, 0 duplicate. There's a ledger that maps each signature to the memory it creates. Run it on a schedule or run it twice by accident. It doesn't matter. If a failure happens again, it won't write a second memory. Instead, it updates the existing one with the new count and increases the confidence. Everything you've done with the CLI can also be done using the UI. On the Memento UI, under Migrate, select the Langfuse view style. Enter your public key, your host, and your secret key. Then run the discovery step. You'll see everything discovered based on your Langfuse project data. Choose what you want to capture. For example, if user thumb is false, that's a failure. For latency, set it to 1000 milliseconds. For cost, set a budget of $0.0001 US per query. Then save the settings or run a preview dry run. Once you're happy with what you see, just hit Sync Now to sync the memories. Here you get 3 new memories and 1 updated. That covers the batch path, but you don't want to wait for a cron job to find out production is on fire. So there's a third way, using LiveBridge. This uses the Langfuse Memento SDK, which attaches a span processor to a global trace provider. In your application, wherever you already use Langfuse, this is your existing setup. Under that, you simply attach a span provider using the attach method from the Langfuse Memento SDK. No decorators, no call site changes needed. Every span your app already sends to Langfuse now also gets inspected for failures. And if you've never touched Memento before, that's the whole setup. The agent gets created and activated on the first write. The only thing you need is one environment variable, your Moorcheh API key, and nothing else. Everything else is optional, but you can also configure what gets sent to Memento on the fly. Once that's done, your app is ready to capture errors, configure traces, and send them to Memento. For example, here's an app running. If you go to the app and trigger an error, then check back, and this is the agent. It automatically created the namespace Langfuse demo SDK. And there it is, a memory written by the agent itself. 30 seconds after the error happened. Nobody ran a command. That's how you integrate Memento with Langfuse. To recap, your observability tool already knows what's breaking. This turns that into something your agent can actually recall. So if you're working with a coding agent to improve your app, your agent already knows what's broken in production, grouped by distinct problem, not by occurrence. Safe to run repeatedly, linked back to the original trace. 2 paths, a CLI sync that works with Langfuse and needs no code changes. You can do the same thing through the UI or use the live handler, 2 lines added to your existing app that already uses Langfuse, installed via pip. Langfuse Memento. Docs are in the links below. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks for watching.